Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alan Burke, and I'm the Senior Director of Parliamentary Affairs and SME Policy here at the Canadian Chamber. And we are very excited to be hosting this, what should be a very interesting discussion. Um, Digital adoption has been such a key priority for businesses of all sizes over the last 2 years, and now even more so of all maturity levels. Today, we're super excited to be taking a deeper dive into one of the Government of Canada's new programs that help businesses take their businesses online or grow their digital presence. Leading the conversation is Darian Kovacs with Jelly Marketing. Darian is one of the CDAP advisors that is helping businesses through the CDAP program, and he's going to be able to tell you all the ins and outs about how to apply and how the program works. And we'll be able to walk you through that along with our esteemed panelists. And I also just wanted to highlight before we begin that while this is not an official ISED-led webinar, we do have ISED representation. And as I just mentioned, Darian is intimately involved in delivering this program to businesses. So it's as good as it gets when it comes to expert advice. So with that, I'll turn it over to Darian. Just thanks so much for being here and for taking the time to talk to our members, and we look forward to the discussion. So over to you.
Yeah, well, Al, I want to thank you and all the folks at the Canadian Chamber of Commerce who really championed this webinar. I think one of the biggest reasons we're doing this is to provide access and information that is digestible, that is understandable, because I think we can so easily find grants intimidating, or accessing funds intimidating, or accessing any sort of programming intimidating. And so the whole idea is to take that away. So we actually have people from the Government of Canada, from ISED here. We've got Isabel from BDC. We got people from Magnet who are going to break down the program for all of us. You can ask any question you want. I'm just going to declare that this is a safe space for everyone. Every question is an okay question, and you are safe to ask anything. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in and share this deck here. So we're calling this 3 Keys to a Successful Digital Adoption Plan. So the name of the program is Canadian Digital Adoption Plan, CDAP. As an acronym, the government seems to love acronyms for some reason, Alex. Do you know why that is? Is there a reason the government just loves their acronyms? Is it just a thing they do?
I've been searching for the answer to that question since I started with the government. I don't think I found it yet, but I've learned a lot of acronyms along the way. So
yeah, perfect. That's great. Roaming through the night to find the acronym in this world. And so we're going to break down the acronym for everyone today. But before we jump in, 3 of the things that I've noticed as a trend, we are just about to start our 46th digital adoption plan with a brand right now. And these are the 3 biggest things that I feel and I've seen are great questions to ask before you even start the process. And so there's a great author who started by doing a TED Talk named Simon Sinek. He wrote a book called Starting with Why. And these are the 3 big why questions to ask before you jump into your Canadian digital adoption plan. What are the key processes that I need to help my business? We're so busy in the trenches running our business that sometimes processes we don't have time for. And this is one of the greatest things I think about the CDAP program, is that the government's actually giving you resources, time, energy, power to build processes for whatever digital adoption plan that you want to go with, whether it's IT, cybersecurity, or digital marketing. The processes that you get. I've seen some of the digital adoption plans for IT. I've seen them for cybersecurity. And what we're able to do on the digital marketing side is pretty incredible and life-changing. So SOPs, which are standard operating procedures for marketing data and language, could be something that you need for your business. All the data that helps you make better decisions. How do you communicate each month to your stakeholders, customers, and potential customers? What does that look like? What does that process look like? And what are the monthly actions I need to take to grow my business? I think one of the greatest things about this program is that the government actually wants to see businesses grow their business. They want to see them be competitive. They want to give them an edge. And because of that, what are the tweaks that we can make so our business can grow? Which is what I think one of the greatest things that I've discovered in this, where sometimes when we do these audits and we do these plans and we hand them over to business owners, some of the things are just really low-hanging fruit, really easy things that they can do, a couple adjustments here and there, a couple things to tweak, and they see a really big impact right away. And that's one of the greatest things about the internet today. And in the time we're in, sometimes little tiny things can make a huge difference. Number two, the next question to ask is, what information would help me run my business better? What information can I pull from Google Analytics? What are my social media stats telling me? What information can I pull from my competitors or companies leading the pack? One of the things that we've been doing on the kind of digital marketing kind of audits and stuff is that we audit competitors. We have businesses come up with 3 of their competitors, or in some cases 2 competitors and 1 muse. So a business they look up to, or someone that's maybe 5 years ahead, or someone in the UK or US that's doing something really, really cool. And we study them, we audit them, and thanks to the age that we're in and privacy access, we can find out every Facebook ad they've run. We can look at any sort of SEO work they've been doing. There's an old saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And so that's what we do. We kind of get those, we cozy up to your competitors and be like, what are they doing? What are they doing so well? What are the opportunities to beat them out? You know, what is the rock that would take down that Goliath? Or what sort of moves are they doing right now that we could borrow and steal? And that's so cool. So again, the other one is, know thy enemy. And so if you can know them and study them, and again, what's even better is that the government is paying for someone to do that for you. And they can come to you and say, hey, we just spent a month or 2 months studying what's out there. We've built those processes for you. We've got this information for you. And here's some stuff to help you on this journey. Sometimes I think of it like if you've seen Lord of the Rings and there's Frodo has got that ring and his buddy Sam is trying to help him up this mountain, right? And so we can feel like that as business owners. We've got this heavy load. We've got this burden of the business we're running. We've got our employees. We've got taxes to pay. We've got all, inflation coming, whatever it is, whatever that ring is that we're holding, whatever that burden is. The great thing about CDAP is it comes alongside like Gandalf, whether it's with a horse that you can ride, or whether it's like, a big eagle you can jump onto, whatever that help is that you specifically need for that time to get over a swamp, right? Like, I'm going to build you a bridge. Look at this bridge stuff I can give you. And that's what I find so great about this program, is that it kind of helps you in the moment, in the trenches, and someone else is going to do that work for, 30 to 60 to 90 days to bring you all this kind of help, whether it's first breakfast or second breakfast or third breakfast, whatever resource you need, whatever fuel you need for your entrepreneurial journey, they're going to find that for you, which is really cool. Third question to ask, what technology should I be adopting in 2022? And again, beyond in 2023? Have you updated your Google Analytics from Universal to GA4 yet? A huge major update for all things digital. As of June 2023, there will no longer be Google Universal Analytics. And so if you haven't started the process to move into GA4, something you really got to be aware of and on top of, because that is the main hub, the data hub that feeds your business all the information of what's happening online. Is it Facebook ads, Google ads, or possibly Bing ads? And again, people laugh at Bing and they make fun of Bing, but in reality, a lot of the brands we work with, especially if you're looking for maybe, government employees or hospital employees or an older audience who have adopted brought in a PC computer and comes with Explorer or Internet Explorer, or, I think it's called Explorer Edge now, whatever it is, they are Binging, and it's pretty amazing. So the price is really affordable to do Bing ads, and the reach is pretty amazing for a specific audience. And what are some SEO tools in adoption? So SEO, meaning search engine optimization. What are some of the things that you could do to have an edge over your competitors when someone Google searches something? How can you rank organically? Ads can be really expensive and they're getting more expensive. And again, we're in a world without cookies no longer. Not the cookies you eat, but it's harder to track what's going on with phones and computers. But if you can rank organically, and cool stat about Canadians compared to Americans, Canadians have a much larger tendency to click on the organic links versus the paid links. So how do you rank there? What are the things that you can do? What are the exercises you can do? What are the practical things you can do to grow there? So those are the 3 big why questions. Maybe you've written some of them down. Maybe you are thinking about them now. And this is some of the how of what you do now. So I love this GIF. Sometimes we can feel like this when we're applying to government grants and we're saying the government wants to help us, and then I fill out all these forms, and there's forms and there's forms and there's forms and there's forms and there's forms, and then they're like, great job, we've got another form for you. And it can feel like that so often. So as a business owner, you often just kind of push the grants aside and you're like, I don't have time for that. I don't have the resources for that. And ain't nobody got time for that, as they would say. So the difference being is CDAP has made it so accessible and so approachable that it often feels like they're actually coming looking for us. They're actually calling us and be like, we're going to help you. We're going to make it easy. We're going to make this approachable. And so we get to go to the government and say, just show me the money, because that's all we really want to do. And in this application process, which I like to actually call a survey, it's actually filling out a 25-minute survey, and we get to say to the government, show me the money to actually help me with my business. So this program, as was said earlier, thank you so much. This is not an official program, so we can talk a little more freely about the Government of Canada program. This is, I'm simply coming at it from a digital adoption advisor perspective, and more so just as a fellow entrepreneur and business owner who has struggled over the years to understand how this world works. So we're just breaking it down here and making it really easy. But this is the official name of the program, Canada Digital Adoption Program. Very cool logo with like cyber things, like kind of like Tron going through the maple leaf is what I think they're going for there. And it's pretty awesome. If you're a Tron fan, this is right up your alley. And just for clarity, there's two parts to this program. One is called Grow Your Business Online with the arrow. And those are for businesses that have a revenue, a gross revenue of $500,000 or less. So at one point in the last 3 years, your revenue was $500,000 or less. Grow Your Business Online is for you. Alex, if you don't mind, if there's a national link we can even put here, because I know there's people from right across Canada on this webinar right now. Every province. Oh yeah, sorry, go ahead, Alex.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, I can throw the link in there for everyone.
It'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. Yeah. And so every province has their own kind of offices that are administrating that. And so you can fill out the form, and then they give you a e-commerce advisor, and then ensuring you get $2,400 to do some sort of cool digital adoption plan with advice from that e-commerce advisor. But on the flip side, if your business has made more than $500,000 at one point in the last 3 years, and that's $500,000 gross, the government has a program for you that is built into 3 tranches. So you then get up to 90%, which the max being $15,000 for a digital advisor plan and strategy. And again, the digital advisors all have been pre-vetted. I think there's like 1,000 in there in the marketplace that you can choose from. And again, anywhere from cybersecurity to IT to digital marketing, they're all there. You then get $7,300 to hire a youth 18 to 30 years old, which is amazing, through the Magnet program. And then you get up to $100,000 interest-free BDC loan to implement your digital adoption plan. So I know there was a program recently in BC, which I think maybe they learned from it, where the province was like, here's $15,000 to do a web strategy and to upgrade your website. And everyone's like, great. But the problem was they didn't pre-vet who could do the web strategy. So I know of like 5 or 6 people that hired a web company, they took the money and then they disappeared. And I know of another group of like 5 to 6 people that started building something web, and then they realized, well, that actually wasn't what I needed. It actually made my business go backwards a couple years. It actually hurt my business because I started building something on my website. It hurt my SEO, it hurt my ranking, and it made my website really confusing. And so what's great about this program is they're getting you to pause, stop, collaborate, and listen to what you need to do with your business and figure it out, come up with a plan. And then they're saying, okay, now here's $7,300 for you to implement the plan. Here's up to $100,000 to implement the plan. So you actually have a really cool strategy and plan that is like top shelf plans, and then they can get implemented. So it's like the feds are saying, let's put good money after good instead of good money after bad. So program overview, ultimately it's like $4 billion, and that's with a B. They've put into this pot to get out to businesses, to help them grow, be strategic, and really give Canadians really the competitive edge, and help them be an amazing competitor in the world of digital. Well, at this point, I'm going to open up to our friend Alex, who is here with ISED. She actually works for ISED. We're not just giving opinions about the program, but I'm going to have her break it down here, because one of the things I find fascinating, Alex, the feedback I get all the time, and I've had someone's like, it seemed too easy. Did I fill out the right form? Why did it only take me 25 minutes? What's with that? Why have you guys made it so accessible for people to apply?
Well, I think a really huge barrier, you kind of touched on this earlier, but between, businesses and accessing support or funding, especially government support or funding, is often just a super long, like daunting or complex application process. And, time is really important for any business, especially for small and medium-sized businesses, folks that are going to be applying for this program and, don't always have the resources to spend hours applying for support, figuring out how to even get all the information you need for the application. So, these longer applications, they can be required to deliver funding, but we've done our best as a program to really streamline it and make applying as easy as possible. We're always working on improving the user experience. And then within that, within the application, I feel like it feels shorter almost to people. It is, we say it's like between 20 and 30 minutes. It feels shorter to people too, because we have our digital needs assessment within the application. So you're kind of getting a little bit out of your application instead of it just being kind of like a big drag. You're actually getting like benefits out of the application alone, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I think it just in that way, it feels easier and like a little more beneficial in and of itself.
And Alex, I want to speak to that because you made a really good point, because
Yeah.
I encouraged someone to apply and I was like, yeah, you could do some digital marketing with us, is great. And they filled out that form and got the DNA test back, the digital needs assessment, not to be confused with the one you lick the stick and you discover if you are part Irish or whatever. But they came back and said, you know what, actually, I filled the form and I realized through my DNA assessment, I need a ton of help with cybersecurity. I'm going to use this for cybersecurity advising, not you. And I thought it was so great that helped them kind of, in a sense, put a mirror up to their company.
Yeah, it's really great because it really helps you jumpstart the process. So you kind of get a really good grasp on where your business is, in terms of digitalization. So it really helps you identify your current needs or your current digital capabilities is what we call it. And it helps you define maybe what the beginnings of a roadmap could look like if you're trying to adopt new digital technologies, which you likely are if you're applying for this program. And then it helps you just kind of discover some potential improvements, and even it sometimes will help you like prioritize investments and stuff. So it really does like lay out a lot for you. And I can see how that would happen if a client already kind of had a good grasp on what they needed to do after the application alone.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm already hearing and sensing the excitement in your voice. It's oozing out. But maybe what else excites you about this program? Like why CDAP and what kind of revs you up each day to go to work and do this?
Yeah. Well, I will say, for me personally, talking to businesses at events, and I actually went to an event recently and I sat next to someone who, it was at the West Coast Business Forum, Darian, which you were also at. I sat next to someone who had just signed their grant agreement and gotten funding. So, from a personal standpoint, it's really awesome to be able to talk to businesses and have like a face put to the businesses that are getting the funding from our program, but also just kind of like on a more general level. I think really after the pandemic, it showed us that, having digital capabilities and being able to continue operating. It's like at a time when in-person operations became very volatile and unpredictable and unreliable. I think it's exciting to have a program that, isn't only helping with overall economic recovery after such a difficult period, but it's also helping businesses take those steps that they need to modernize and grow in ways that they never thought of after this thing that we all went through. And also something I find really exciting about the program is not only does it support businesses, but we have, for example, our funded work placement will also help students and recent graduates, young Canadians who need experience in their field. We have folks here from Magnet who help operate that part of the program. So we really create this symbiotic space where government can offer financial support and logistical support to bring that collaboration to fruition as well. For staff, so we're looking at SMEs for this program. Yep. So you want to have under 499 full-time equivalent employees, and you have to have at least one. So it's, we're looking at SMEs here, or sole proprietors as well.
So I was wrong. So anonymous attendee, I tried to answer your question by saying, as long as you don't have more than 500 staff, but you also need to have $100 million or less revenue, correct?
Yeah. So we have like that revenue threshold. And if anyone's a little bit confused about certain eligibility criteria, do not worry. We have the details on our website and it's super easy to check. And we also have a tool like in the homepage of our website. If you're not really sure, I think the $500,000 kind of revenue threshold is a good kind of post for you to understand which stream you may be trying to apply to. But if you're a little bit confused still, we have a tool on the homepage of our website where you put in a little bit of information about your business that directs you exactly to where you need to go. So yeah.
And our friend Henry Stevens would like to know, what is your full title, Alex, at ISED?
My full title. Okay. So I do work for the Canada Digital Adoption Program.
Yep.
I'm an outreach lead on the outreach and partnerships team. So I have a few colleagues and we all work in events, we work in comms, we do all kinds of outreach. I get to do fun stuff like this. So yeah, that's my job at CDAP.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
And then Rob had a quick question about stream 1 for CDAP, which is grow your business. The big change, which is a huge, exciting announcement that yes, as long as you made $30,000, you don't need employees anymore. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's a really great change. So before you had to have at least one employee to be able to apply other than yourself. But we made that change so that sole proprietors, people who are it's just them in their business can also apply if they've made at least $30,000 in the previous tax year in revenue. So it's one or the other, you don't have to have both, one or the other, you can apply to stream 1.
Amazing.
To grow your business online. We call stream 1 and stream 2 behind the curtain a little bit. So if I toss that out, that's what I'm talking about.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then when people apply, there's even a toll-free number there. There's a chat there. There's an email there that if anyone has questions, there's support, correct?
Yeah, so I can actually, I can paste the phone number and the links into the chat. You can give our service center a call and we have real human people on the other end that you can chat with if you have any questions. I personally am a big fan of talking with real human people. Yeah. So yeah, that's an option for you. If you have a more basic question, we have a chat bot as well. If you're not a fan of talking to human people. And then we also have, a form you can fill out on our website that will send our inbox an email. So lots of options if you're looking to get in touch with the program with a question.
Amazing. And final question, and I think I've dug into this. Part of why I think this is so easy and it seems too good to be true, I think partly is people have to log in with their GC key or a major bank, correct?
Yes.
And because of that, the feds have all this information about the business already on hand.
Yeah, it's really easy. I think there are a lot of Canada services that you have that option to sign in with your GC key. GC key is just an electronic credential. For anyone who doesn't know, it's a unique electronic credential that was made by the government of Canada, and it's specifically to access online government services. So you can sign in with one of those, but you can also use another sign-in partner banking credentials if you're with a major bank, something like that. And it really, it's first of all, it's really secure. So that's good news. And it just makes the process quicker and more efficient for you. So.
And here's a question. Can I have my accountant fill out the form or a third-party grant writing company?
So for, Boost Your Business Technology, it has to be the director of the business. So this is actually a really important thing to note down. A director of the business or the sole proprietor has to be the one to fill out the form right now. You can't have an accountant or someone else fill out the form for you. I'm not actually sure for for Grow Your Business Online what the rules are with that one, but I know for Boost, you want to keep that in mind.
So, but 25 minutes of your life, that's give me an episode. How long, give me a TV show that's a 25 minute She-Hulk episode.
Dairy Girls. If anyone's watching the new season of Dairy Girls, you could toss that on. Yeah. Yeah.
Done. As long as that's perfect. Again, the greatest thing is what's the word? It triggers, access to potentially like $123,000, right? And at the length of one episode of Dairy Girls. So that's pretty awesome. Cool.
Yeah. And you can be super prepared, have your personal banking info ready or your GC key. You can have the basic information about your business ready, like your CRA business number, your business name, office address. A lot of you probably know this kind of off the top of your head, but if you don't, having that basic information ready to go means you don't have to get up in the middle of your application. You can just sit down, fill it out, and it's way easier that way too.
Amazing. And the application is, and I'm gonna reframe. I'm gonna say it's a survey, because basically you're asking, and I've had clients who've applied who are like very low on the digital adoption scale. Like they had a GeoCities website that they were running still, or like the site was just something that, was, but they filled a survey about what they knew, and they were approved. And I had someone who has like a full e-commerce, like, man, all guns blazing, was going full out on the internet. They were approved. And I think for them, when we went through, they went from good to great when we were able to help them. And the other person was able to actually adopt brand new things they never even thought about before.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's not just for people who are starting at complete, businesses that are at complete ground zero. If you have some kind of digital tools already in play and you want to improve them or see where you can grow even more, the program's also still for you. So it's really casts a wide net in terms of the folks we're trying to get funding to.
That's awesome. Alex, anything else you want to leave our guests with today?
I think I've tossed out a lot of information today at everyone. So I will put the phone number for our what's that called? Service center, for our service center in the chat. But our website has a lot of great info on it. So I would encourage everyone to go check that out as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah. Thank you.
So just the client journey map as you're looking at this, so you can go to the assessment tool on the CDAP website. It determines your best fit. You're then asked to fill out a digital needs assessment. Again, you can even skip step 1 and go right to step 2. And then when you are accepted, and I've had some people accepted immediately, sometimes it takes 3 to 5 business days, but some people are accepted right away. You're then sent to the marketplace to choose your favorite digital adoption plan person. I encourage you to maybe get quotes from 3, find the right fit. There's so many in there, so many options, and find one that works for you. And then once that is done, you then upload your paid invoice and the digital adoption plan. The government reimburses you 90% of that plan up to $15,000. So a lot of advisors are charging $16,500, and then you're given a check for $15,000. So your net cost really is $1,500. And then once that's uploaded and it triggers the next step, which is you can now then talk to BDC, or you could talk to someone at Magnet to get that youth hired, which is very, very cool, which is kind of like the next 2 steps in this journey. This is what the application page looks like. It's quite simple. You click that bottom left button in the corner there, but these are just the reminders that you must be incorporated federally or provincially, or be a Canadian resident, sole proprietor, for-profit, privately owned business, 1 to 499 full-time equivalent employees. And again, this is for boost your business. If you are going to grow, you no longer need employees. And again, at least $500,000 of annual revenue. And again, it sounds like they're no more than 100 million revenue as well, because that is the cap. So typical advisors, cybersecurity, IT, and digital marketing, online presence. Those are some of the folks you can choose from depending on what your needs are. But at this point, I'm going to open it up to our friends at Magnet, because you're probably thinking, okay, so I get an advisor and I get a BDC loan and I get a youth. This is pretty awesome. So why don't we hand over Kathleen, Glenn, thank you for being here.
Yes. Thank you, Darian. Great. So let's recap a little bit. You've created your plan, you've got your loan, and then now it's time to implement your plan. But oftentimes small businesses don't necessarily have all the time to implement their plan. And this is where we come in. You have the opportunity to hire youth. Okay. So how is that going to work? Or we talked a little bit about the criteria earlier. The youth that you're eligible to, that are eligible to be hired are anywhere between 18 to 30. And if they're recent grads, they have to be within about 2 years of their graduation. Okay, and these youth typically are going to come from any school across Canada. We've made it actually pretty easy to do that. We actually have a platform called Outcome Campus Connect, which connects you to 90+ institutions across Canada. So before, if you were looking for youth, sometimes you would have to create a job posting at one school like Waterloo or UBC or UFT, and you would have to create all these different job postings, about 20 different ones. And you can see how that can be really time consuming for a business owner. But Outcome Campus Connect actually creates one posting, one login, and it shoots to every single school in our network. So that's how we've made it easy for you to access youth. Of course, some of the business owners here may actually already have youth. So That's good if you have connections with your co-op placements or anything like that around your in partnering schools. You could use that for to implement your digital plan. But we as Magnet, we could help you with that if you're struggling and if you're worried about finding the right talent to implement your plan. Okay, it's pretty simple. It's about 5 different steps. You're just gonna sign into a consent form. You're gonna give some of your organization details, and then of course the placement details. And keep in mind, this $7,300 is to help you implement your digital plan. So I like that. I'm gonna steal your line, Darian. You said good money after good. Actually, I used to work on I was a program administrator for another program called the Student Work Placement Program. And that program would give students money just to hire them to be employees for your organization. With this program, the Digital Adoption Program, you already have a plan, so you know what you're going to do with these students. So now it's a lot more targeted and you know exactly what talent you are looking for. So I love this program because now that you have your plan, you're going to look for talent to help you implement that plan. And we can help you with that hiring process. Again, it's just 5 easy steps. You're going to be using Magnet's platform through Outcome Campus Connect. And that's pretty much how you're going to hire your students. What are some of the things that youth can do for your company? I'm going to pass that over to Kathleen to share.
One of the great stories that I love to share is what a youth can do for your company. And one thing that's great about the Canadian Adoption Plan and Boost Your Business is with your digital plan that's been created by the digital advisor, you now have a roadmap of where your youth will be within your organization and how they can support you and move you forward. And it's a win-win for your company as well as the youth, because you're helping your business grow, generate additional revenue through a new digital plan. And then you have hire to youth, so you're supporting the economy with the youth hire. And we have through Magnet, as Glenn mentioned, is the SWIP program. And we found that there are SWIP hires that have now become full-time employees for companies. So you may bring this youth into your fold, into your organization, and they end up staying with you for a very long time after the fact. So it's a win-win for everybody. So there's a lot the youth can do, and when you bring them in.
Kathleen, question on the 7,300. How long do you think that would last for this youth? What would you suggest they kind of use it or budget at?
How long would the youth stay with you?
Yeah, right. Well, how could you structure the employment?
Well, you can definitely look at it through terms, like actual, if it's youth that are postgraduate or in programs, they could look at it from a school term and they can extend that term. And I think Isabel can even speak to some of the financial pieces that could even support youth further down the road in terms of available money through the loan as well. So I think there's different ways of positioning that.
Amazing. That's really cool. And those that are concerned about like, oh, I got to manage this person, come up with things for them to do every day and tasks, like, what's your answer to that? People that's their concern.
Well, I think the actual advisor has created the roadmap, has created that plan, and it gives that company the opportunity within that plan to say, here's the direction that we need to go. And the person they're hiring will be qualified for the role that they're looking at and to be able to execute that. And I think that's what's great. There's not a lot of worry about it.
Yeah. I'll give you that. Kathleen, we've had people who we've done this for, and they're like, oh, I don't want someone. But then the minute we show them that there's a workflow plan actually in, so Alex and her team and Natasha, they make us make these very robust strategies, like 160, 200 pages in some cases. And in it, we actually have a full workflow, job description, action items that youth can do. And once people see that, they realize, I can literally just hand that to the person and they can follow that. There was like 3 to 4 to 5 months of work right in that document.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I'm sure other advisors are doing the same thing. I'm sure whoever is vetting the adoption plans, because we actually have to, they get uploaded to the feds and they get reviewed and audited. I'm sure other people are doing a plan just like that as well, that the youth can then adopt and run with. Yeah,
That's fantastic.
really cool. So Glenn, any other tips, advice about finding this youth that you're to bring on and kind of the benefits to a business?
The one, sorry, go ahead, Glenn.
No, go ahead. What were you going to say? The one?
So I was going to say the one thing is there's no time limit to hire your youth.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just gonna really piggyback on what you were saying. I mean, I love the fact that, remember, you're creating this plan to really focus in on the activities that you want the youth to do.
Right.
And what I love about, we don't actually have success stories for CDAP yet, but what was really inspiring was to see that the other program the other federal grant that we administered, we had some youth who ended up becoming their first full-time employees. And that's what this is all about, right? And to see the youth actually develop and really bring value to your organization, because you're increasing loyalty, you have them long-term, they know your business, they can be a really strong value add to your organization. I'd say at a smaller cost, rather than hiring sometimes a developer at $100,000 right off the bat. Sometimes you can grow with the youth. And that's the really big power of hiring young people to, and hungry, I would say. I work with a lot of youth myself, and when they're creating their plans with you, you have that real opportunity to grow together.
That's amazing. That's so cool. I'm so excited to hear these stories, get these testimonies, and to hear people talking about what their youth was able to do for them. That's really, really, really cool. The chat back in here. So again, those that have seen it, we put the link in the latest question in case you're not getting any of the chats there, but this is the page here. Start your application right there, bottom left-hand corner, which is very exciting. So going back to the presentation here, I'm gonna talk about time commitment. Again, 25 to 30 minutes to fill out that survey on the website, typically an hour or so to onboard with your advisor that you choose, 1 hour to provide digital access to assets to advisor to assess and audit and review, and then give it a month to 2 months, 2 to 4 hours for a presentation of the findings and assessments, 1 to 2 hours to hire a student / youth, and then BDC application is all online. So that's kind of like the timing. If you're worried about the time commitment of this, because you don't have time for this because you're so busy running your business, that's the breakdown for you. Biggest findings and learnings so far, we've seen SEO audits have been mind-blowing, where these small micro businesses in Spruce Grove, Alberta, in St. Boniface, Manitoba, they can learn to have a really competitive edge to these large, massive corporations that have multi-million-dollar budgets, but through SEO and through earned media, they're able to get an edge on them and appear higher in rankings than these organizations that are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads. Competitor analysis has been kind of the biggest wins we found, where people realize, wow, there's a bunch of really great things I should be and could be doing, and really easy to implement, especially now that I've got a youth who I've got for a few months here that can implement a lot of this work. Facebook and Google ad audits have been great. Even those that are running, say, probably good Facebook and Google ads, we're able to go in and get them from good to great. E-commerce process audit. Probably 6 or 7 times we've been able to find where people are losing people in the shopping process, where they're losing them, where they could have them buy something, or where they lose them, where they abandon the cart. How do we get them back? And the big one is online opportunities. So where are all the places they could be? Have you considered Reddit? Have you looked at Quora? Have you looked at Pinterest? And being able to just open up these doors to people has been really, really exciting. Because there's whole worlds out there where, again, it's not just Facebook and Instagram and just Google, but worlds within Reddit and Pinterest that are amazing to explore. These subreddits where they, there's one guy, he sells like yarding pieces. So like people who make do that's quilting and with the needles. What's that called? Who knows what's that called with the knitting needles? You make toques and blankets and stuff. I don't know
You
what
mean
it's called.
crochet?
Crochet, that's the word.
Yeah, that's
Thank you,
what-
Al. Crochet.
That's what I
You're
thought he was
talking
doing.
about like knitting, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like he's a massive crochet supplier. And we showed him that within Reddit, there's whole subreddits of people that are just crochet obsessed people, like hundreds of thousands of these people that go into Reddit and share like tips and things, because Reddit has become kind of the message board for the world. And so when we showed him there was this opportunity to be there organically and post stuff, he saw a massive kind of spike in incoming traffic. And then we showed him how you can even advertise on Reddit. It was really, really cool to show him that there was pre-qualified buyers that were really into what he does and sells on the internet, not just on Facebook and other places. So it was very fun to see. Without further ado, Isabel is here from BDC. She is the architect behind the BDC Loan, and she's here to share with how the BDC Loan portion works.
Hi, thanks, Darian, for that introduction. So yes, I'm Isabelle Landry. I work at the BDC. I was appointed as the product manager for the CDAP. So that's one of my role at the BDC right now. So I'm gonna go over some details to provide most information I can on that loan. I think that the main terms and condition are probably the highlight is the 0% interest rate, and knowing that we are in increasing time of interest, it might be also interesting to reach for something that's not going to change through the terms of the loan. So it's a 0% interest loan. It's on 5 years, plus you have 12 months capital postponement. So meaning that overall, it's on 6 years, and you're not going to pay anything on the first year because there's no interest to pay. It's also interesting to know that there's no fees attached to that loan. So no study fee, no transaction fee, no legal fee, because there's no security taken, no personal guarantee, no corporate guarantee, no GSA, no hypothec, nothing. So basically, we're only relying on the company that will apply for the loan. So that's it. It's pretty lean as a loan, probably the leaner that you could get. So it's also important to know that BDC is the only provider for that type of financing regarding the CDAP program. So we are the only financial institution providing that 0% interest loan regarding the program. And it's also maybe important to keep in mind that even if you are eligible to the program, it's not like a check to get the loan instantly. You still have to be, yes, eligible to the program, but also be BDC's credit worthiness. We will do like a credit check on you and the business. So it's important to know that it's not because you are eligible to the program that you go directly and claims your loan without having to go through a due diligence process. To determine which amount you can get, it's based on your annual gross revenue. If you're doing between 500,000 and 5 million, then you are eligible to $25,000 to $50,000. And if you do more than 5 million, then you are eligible up to $100,000. And what's important to know is, okay, but I'm just, probably you will say, oh, I'm just going to ask for the max I'm eligible for. But the loan can be used to implement your digital plan. So we're going to follow in your digital plan, there's a roadmap and there's some steps, and there will be a budget in there. So it needs to follow what's in there. You also have to know that through the loan agreement, we gave ISED the audit right. So you might be the lucky one that will be audited, and you will have to provide, if it's required and it's asked by ISED, to provide the proof of how you use the money. So it's important that you don't take that money to repay a loan that might have higher interest or to do whatever you want with it. It's really mean to implement your plan. It's a program that is tied all together. All the pieces goes together. And a question that we also often receive is, do I have to take the loan? Is it mandatory? And the answer is very easy. It's no. If you don't want it, you don't have to apply for it. But if you decide you want it, here's how you have to do it. So basically, when you complete your digital plan, you will have to upload your plan on the ISED website, and you will have your invoice, and eventually you will receive your grant. So they're gonna provide the grant to cover the advisory portion. And in that email saying congratulations, you receive your grant, you will have two other items in there. You will have a link to apply for our loan, and you will also have the link to apply for the youth program. But I'm just going to focus on the loan here. It's a unique link. You cannot transfer that link to somebody else, and it's mandatory to start your application from that link. It's really important. It's the only key to open the loan application process. It's that unique link. And maybe I'm going to do a bit of publicity here. It's really important to know that the person who applied for the program has to continue the application for the loan. We are facing a lot of different people. There's a director applying on the ISED because it's mandatory, but it is also mandatory on our side, and they tend to transfer that email to the controller or somebody else in the company to say, oh, they know much more than me about financing, but then the link doesn't work anymore. So it's really important that it's continuous information, and it's the same throughout the process. Okay, that's important. We are facing some challenges regarding that on our side. Yeah, as I said, we also have the question like, what can I use the money for? And I already tell you, you have to any item listed in your digital plan, but I'm just going to give you some example. Maybe it's going to speak more to you. It could include IT equipment. It could be monthly software subscription. It could be cost for training your staff or hiring, or as I think it's Caitlin said, to continue having your youth. Once you use the grant or something like that about the youth, you can continue to pay that person with the loan. If in the plan it says that you should go deeper with more advisory services, then it's covered too with the loan. So basically, anything that is listed in that digital plan, you can use the money for that. And I'm just going through my notes to make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, good information for you here. If you have any more question or you want more information on the loan, you can either go to the CDAP website or consult the BDC's own FAQ that we made. I'm going to put the page in the chat, not the chat, yes, the chat section. So I'll put the BDC's page. And if you scroll down, there's a portion with FAQ, and there's a lot of question and answer that it might be useful for you. So I think that's it.
Isabel, I got a question for you. I've gotten this thrown my way. If I get an advisor, maybe say from like MNP or another organization, am I just as eligible for the BDC loan if I don't use BDC as a digital advisor? Because BDC in and of itself is also a potential digital advisor.
Yes. So basically, if there's two options here. If you start your process through the CDAP, yes, you will have access to a multiple of advisor, and you can go with any of them. It doesn't matter as long as they are accredited by ISED. But there's also, I think, if I remember well, 4 programs that are kind of fast track. So you don't have access to the grant, but you can fast track to the 0% interest loan. And there's few programs. There's one in Quebec, 2 in Atlantic, and BDC is also one of the program that is fast track. So yes, it's a good question, Darian. Thanks for raising it.
No, that's awesome. And when you're choosing a digital advisor, you can ask things like, hey, you're going to put a budget in there, and or you're going to give me a work plan for that youth, correct? When you're trying to find the right advisor.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the budget is a mandatory thing, because that's what you're going to get as BDC, because that's the budget that's going to kind of determine how much money they need and how they're going to use the money from the advisory document.
Yeah, that's a piece that is mandatory for all advisors that's been accredited by ISED. There's the budget there, and it needs to be detailed. So yeah, it's a good roadmap. As I said, that digital plan is your blueprint. You know, it's like when you're building a house. You're not going to start building your house without having plan. So it's the same for the CDAP.
That's amazing. So the advisors, maybe this might go back to Alex or Natasha. How did you pick them? How are they? Because I could give my perspective, but how did you pick these advisors? who are licensed, or what term do you use? Approved by CDAP, ISED.
So yeah, they're vetted. I'm not like 100% sure what exactly the vetting process entails, but they have to meet a certain amount of criteria. I mean, Darian, you've been through it.
Yeah.
You know, we have over 1,000 now. And yeah, it's specifically advisors that are with the Canada Digital Adoption Program that we've selected. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the criteria are, but they do have to go through that vetting process.
I gave you my side. It was tons of documentation, which I was really thrilled by, because what I saw happen in BC with the provincial grant and them just being like, choose whoever you want. And all the poor entrepreneurs got really hurt by it. And so I love that they said, okay, I had to send multiple examples of advising services I've done, multiple examples of audits we've done. It was a very large process to get approved. Which I thought was amazing. So Henry, great question. All the advisors have gone through a very rigorous process to make sure that whoever you choose there is legitimate and good. And the other thing is, when it's uploaded to the website afterwards to get your reimbursement, someone else looks at it. So we've even had someone reach out to us afterwards and said, hey, could you add a better table of contents? Or, hey, can you clarify this section better? Because you're putting so much information there, but could you break it down like this for us? So I know there was a real human reading through them on the other side, which I thought was so cool.
And actually, just kind of a point on this, when you are interviewing your possible digital advisors that you're working with, you can ask for examples of past work. You can ask all these questions so that you basically anything you want to know, so that you also are vetting the advisor. You also are comfortable with what you're planning on working on together, and you come up with that plan together. So, you're also able to ask any questions that you feel like you don't have the answer to.
And I'll speak to that because I've been asked for that. And so I got permission from one of my past digital advisor folks, but I did not get permission to email it over to someone. So whenever someone asked me that, I just live Zoom and go through it with them, because the person did not want it out there, but they're okay at being shared on Zoom. So that's how I got permission as an advisor. Thank you, Alex. That was really helpful. Jason had some questions for Isabel. So Isabel, over to you.
Yes, I was trying to type, and yeah. So the question from Jason is how the revenue threshold is calculated for the loan. It's based on the last fiscal year. So I know to be eligible for the program is based on the 3 years, but for the threshold of the loan, we're going to look at the last year. And the deadline to apply for I can answer for the loan is when you receive your deep link, like your unique link through email, you have 6 months to apply. So the link is good 6 months, unless you have a fast track. If you are fast tracking, meaning that you already have a plan in hand done through a recognized program, when they will send the link, it's 1 month to apply for the loan. And yeah, so that's what I have. And the deadline for the grant, if I remember well, I'll answer for Alex, but it's until the program is ended. Basically, you start your application.
Yes.
But when you have sign your grant agreement, you have 9 months to go through the digital plan and claim your grant. Maybe I wasn't sure which delay you were asking for, Jason, but I gave both answers.
That's really helpful. And Alex, this program's going to run for 3 years. Is that correct? It started in May 2022.
Yeah,
is that
I
correct?
guess technically it's 4, but
Okay.
most of the first year was kind of developing the program. Yes.
Amazing. And the word is getting out now, which is very exciting. So people are learning about this program. These webinars are great. So again, those that are attending this webinar right now, we're so glad you're here. We're so glad you're here asking questions for yourself. And what we found too, a webinar I did a couple months ago, they then were able to go and share this information with their friends and family and networks and business. And so yes, feel free to share the news, send the link out, because it, again, in some cases, it sounds too good to be true. So if it comes from you as an actual business owner who knows about it, love for the word to be spread. So we have got 4 minutes left to give you back your life, and we've got time for any more Q&As. You've been asking so many great questions throughout this, so thank you so much for being so engaged. But if anyone else has any additional questions, we've answered 17 throughout this workshop, which is awesome. It's so cool that everyone is here and present. If not, I'm going to do a selfie. So if Canadian Chamber of Commerce, amazing folks, whoever's left here on the call, if you want to turn your camera back on, I'm going to take a quick shot here. Unless she got bored. It was kind of, or camera's not working. Something's going on with the camera. Technical. Canadian Chamber of Commerce, but being a nonprofit or a registered charity is not eligible. Someone asked that question. So if she was a private business, she could be applying for the Canadian Digital Adoption Plan here. So I'm just going to take a quick shot of all of us together here. So I'm just going to say 1, 2, 3, and then shoot. I'll do one more just for as a backup. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. Woo! Thank you everyone for coming. This was amazing. You are investing in your business. I think the Canadian economy in general, that we could have that competitive advantage. Glenn, Kathleen, Alex, Isabel, thank you so much for being available. And this is just the epitome of being accessible for people that maybe normally would find this intimidating or confusing at the same time. So thank you for adding clarity. Yeah, it is an 18 to 30-year-old. They don't need to be a current student. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions as well when it comes to that portion of this program. And yes, someone described it well recently where they're like, it feels like you guys are like Oprah because you're like, you'll get a grant. You get a youth thing, you get a loan, and people, they just keeps giving. It is the program that really just keeps giving time and time and time again. Henry Stevens, you did a great job for showing up. Thank you for saying thanks. Yes. Great job. This is recorded. So again, you'll get a copy, share it with your friends, family, your neighbors, and all the best. And thank you for investing in the economy of Canada. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.